on RCI, Monday to Friday, 12:45 to 2 p.m. The Lunchroom. Informative, enlightening, provocative, engaging. The Lunchroom on RCI. Food for thought. The station that gives you, more lunch.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Lunchroom on Radio Caribbean International. It is Thursday, April the 11th, and it's still in the year 2024. This is program number 1162 of the Lunchroom, and I'm your host, Alex George Jr. Now, in addition to radio, that is 101.1 FM, we're also streaming live on our website, rcistlucia.com, and all our previous shows are downloadable in podcast form on that platform. You also have the option of following us on Facebook Live, and you just have to search for the official page of Radio Caribbean International on Facebook, and please be sure to like and share that link as well with your friends and family. Now, if you want to call in to tell us what's on your plate today, the number to do so is 452-3046. Again, 452-3046. And you can also message in on our WhatsApp platform. That is 724-0008. You can also call in using WhatsApp. So feel free to do that as well if you prefer. And again, that number is 724-0008. Now, sending some birthday greetings going out to Mrs. Doreen Michelle. Happy birthday to you, Mrs. Michelle. And we do hope that you're having a fantastic birthday celebration. And hope you're keeping your legs up and not doing too much today and simply enjoying your very, very special day. So wishing you the very best. And also sending birthday greetings out to Chanel Alphonse. And a happy birthday to you. And we're hoping that you're having a very wonderful birthday. I'm sorry, I should have also included your married name, Chanel Alphonse Larcher. Happy birthday to you, and we do hope that you're having a fantastic day. Do enjoy your very, very special day. A bit of history for today, and we start off by going back to the year 1814, when Napoleon Bonaparte abdicated unconditionally and was sent into exile on the island of Elba in the Mediterranean. Of course, we know he subsequently returned to France for another last hurrah and was eventually exiled to the island of St. Helena, where he died in the Atlantic Ocean. In 1868, the shogunate was abolished in Japan. 1955, on this day, chartered Air India plane, the Kashmir Princess, was bombed and crashed into the South China Sea in a failed assassination attempt on Zhou Enlai by the Kuomintang secret agency. 1968, on this day, the United States President Lyndon Baines Johnson signed the Civil Rights Act. And of course, that was after tremendous agitation. 1979, Tanzanian army captured Kampala, which is the capital of Uganda, forcing Ugandan dictator Idi Amin to flee into exile in Libya. 2015, on this day, Barack Obama and Raul Castro met in Panama, the first meeting of the United States and Cuban heads of state since the Cuban Revolution. And in 2019, on this day, Sudanese President Omar al-Bashir was overthrown and arrested by the army in Khartoum after 29 years in power following massive street protests. We now move on to our dish of the day. The daily dish is brought you the kind compliments of our good friends at Tiles Plus.
One tiles for your home, I see. Bathroom, kitchen, pantry. Need tiles for your balcony. Come down to Tiles Plus, satisfaction guarantee. Tiles Plus, Tiles Plus, Tiles Plus. Big tiles with unbeatable cost. Customer service, A+. All kind of tiles come down to Tiles Plus. We also got gasware and vanity. Books, doors, you'll see. Town don't mind nobody, we got the best as an island. Trust me. We are located Land Street in Castries, Bosses Jugosile, and Slack Street in Dufort. Telephone number 453-7939.
Serving now, the Daily Dish.
And welcome back to the lunchroom here at Radio Caribbean International. Apologies for the late start. Now, early on today, there was in fact a ceremony, a signing ceremony, involving some government officials and the World Bank, which kicked off the launch of a program looking at making better use of St. Lucia's marine space, and it is entitled Unleashing the Blue Economy. That project is being funded by the World Bank, and it is aimed at ensuring that there is better, more sustainable, as well as more environmentally friendly, of course, utilization of our marine space. We quite often think of our existence, our lives on terra firma, on within the terrestrial space of where we find ourselves right now, but we are and certainly have always been very much dependent on the sea for so many things. And of course, we are in fact an island state, so it is somewhat difficult to ignore the presence of that blue space that surrounds our island. And it is certainly a very important space, and we are coming to recognize that even more as we are seeing the rise of this whole concept of the blue economy. That has become very popular in part by the efforts of other small states, small island developing states, like that of the Seychelles in the Indian Ocean. They were one of the early players which recognize that they, though they may be small in terms of the land area, but in fact their islands covered a vast amount of ocean. And in their instance, with the Seychelles, an archipelago, they in fact have a significant area of marine space, which is quite often demarcated by their exclusive economic zone, the EEZ. That has brought a lot of interest, of course. What's out there under the seabed is very, very important for many countries right about now. And of course, we can see what is going on with respect to Guyana and Venezuela. Everything is really about, not so much about the forest and the land resources that are west of the Essequibo River, which is being claimed by both Guyana and Venezuela, but it has so much more to do with the sea that is in fact bordering that land, and because, of course, of the presence of hydrocarbons and petroleum and natural gas resources that are present under those waters. Of course, we have looked at in the past, or trying to look at the potential for that in our waters as well. Our neighboring island of Barbados, for instance, has shown that they in fact have some oil and gas, and they were in fact at one point also trying to encourage exploration of their own EEZ. Excuse me. In the case of Venezuela, their exclusive economic zone extends very far north of the Venezuelan coastline, and that is done because they make claims, or they have claimed islands that find themselves west of our islands, in particular the claim of Bird Island or Avis Island, west of Dominica roughly, is used so that they can in fact claim a significant amount of the Caribbean Sea. As a result of that, in fact, we share a border, a maritime border with Venezuela, believe it or not, and so does Dominica, even further north of us. And as a result of that, St. Lucia's EEZ, because of how we are positioned in the chain, is actually not that very large in comparison to Barbados, whose EEZ extends far and the full distance of the 200 miles out into the Atlantic Ocean. Ours is attenuated, tapered by the presence of Venezuela and its presence of Avis Island, as well as our other neighbors, Martinique to the north, St. Vincent to the south, and of course Barbados to the southeast. And so it is certainly not as great as others, but still a very, very important region nonetheless. But even without that aspect of oil and gas exploration and the possibilities of minerals under the sea, the issue of the near shore is also a major one that is being looked at. There's also the aspect of energy and energy from the oceans, and there's a fair bit of research that is being done into things like looking at the temperature difference between the currents of the higher parts of the sea and the lower parts, and that thermal difference leading to what is known as ocean thermal energy conversion as one potential energy source, and as well the matter of wave action, that kinetic energy that exists within the currents that are around, is also some areas where some level of interest is being given around the world. Perhaps not so much here as yet, but you never know how those things continue to pan out. And perhaps the largest area of expansion in terms of energy production with respect to the sea is that of offshore wind. And we have seen, especially countries that have lots of extensive shelves, continental shelves, they in fact are able to utilize those shallow waters to be able to place wind turbines out in the sea. And wind turbines out in the sea are more costly. They are costlier than actually having them on land. But the advantage that exists in terms of putting those turbines out in the sea is that, one, they can be much larger. And so the average size of a wind turbine out on land would be maybe about 2 to 5 megawatts. But out further in the sea, it's possible to have these even larger structures. And so you're talking about, at this point, China's even contemplating 20 megawatt per turbine. A significant amount of generation. When you think about here in St. Lucia, we're using about 60 megawatts. And for them, just one turbine, you could power a third of St. Lucia. Phenomenal growth in technology there. And of course, the other benefit of going out into the water is that you don't have as much turbulence with issues of mountains and land causing turbulence. You get a cleaner wind resource and a better opportunity there. So there is, in fact, possibilities with respect to that use of offshore wind, although it's not something that has yet been contemplated, because, of course, it does require significant investments to be able to achieve that. And as well, the other challenge is the depth of your water, and that is certainly another aspect, although they are using all sorts of new technologies to go further out into deeper water with floating turbines. But still, of course, the cost and technology is something that still has to be weighed out in this regard. But certainly, when we look at the nearshore area, we are certainly talking about a very important resource. Our coastline and our nearshore marine spaces are where you have perhaps the greatest amount of human utilization right now. It is, of course, a really important resource for fisheries, for food security, and being able to support livelihoods in rural communities is very, very, very important in that regard, and is also very important from the perspective of our tourism. And you would well appreciate that many people are flying thousands of miles to come to St. Lucia because we're an island, because we are surrounded by what should be clean, beautiful blue sea. And that sea, we would like to believe, is also buzzing with aquatic life and also able to share beautiful hues and experiences, especially in terms of our coral reefs, which of course depend on existing in a particular region in terms of the temperature of the water and the salinity of the water and the acidity, the pH of the water is all very important in terms of the preservation of life for these coral reefs. And of course, we also know that the coral reefs are providing an environmental service by way of shoreline protection, as well as being really important nurseries for that fisheries resource as well. So conserving those resources are very, very, very important. And they have been, and of course, within that context, we're seeing the pressures being put forward in terms of climate change and that the acidification of the water, very minor changes sometimes, but sufficient to impact the growth of coral. And so, coming up with the technologies to potentially, how do you catalyze the growth of coral? How do you expand coral reefs? That's a really important area of work at this point in time in terms of the protection of these really important assets. And what we've got to also be very mindful of within that context is that because it's what a lot of people are coming to see, there can be overutilization. And that is one of the major risks that one faces when you speak about tourism. The whole concept of over-tourism, overcrowding, too much utilization of a resource. And you've seen how in some countries, the very things that are drawing the people to come and that they want to see end up suffer from overutilization. And that is an unfortunate aspect of tourism if it is not very well managed. And this is, of course, a phenomenon that is playing out across the world. In Mexico, for instance, you're seeing lots of people who want to go to see Mayan ruins and Mayan temples and Aztec ruins as well. And by going to visit the archaeological site, sometimes you end up having damage being caused by individuals who sometimes don't know any better, or they think that what they're doing out of ignorance is allowed, and you see the impacts that happen. So that is why effective management of these resources is very critical to ensure that they are kept. So we of course are already seeing areas where there might be potential conflicts and different users trying to get into that very same space. And especially if you have an area that has a nice beach, the beach may have a coral reef close by. And so you'll have people who will be coming there who will want to enjoy the beach and they'll want to be swimming. And then you may very well have other people who may be coming in using water sports. And then you'll have other people who are coming in on boats trying to enjoy the whole the snorkeling experience or the scuba diving experience in the very same space. And you can end up with conflicts. You can end up with potential health and safety concerns when those are not properly managed. So this whole initiative, of course, of looking at the unleashing the blue economy is hoping to drive some of these issues in terms of the whole matter of what is the resource as it is right now, how can that resource be conserved, what has to be done actively perhaps to support those things, for instance coral reef restoration works, but in some instances how do you manage the number of people who are going on to those reefs, for instance. Just as an example, it's a resource, and if it is treated as a resource, then it means that there probably should be a user fee to be able to utilize that resource. In most instances right now, it's a bit of a free-for-all, and everybody is maybe the hotel operator might benefit, or the person who's running the scuba tour might benefit, but does the resource itself benefit in terms of its own conservation and protection? And so looking at these matters are very important. This is precisely why initiatives such as the Soufriere Marine Management Area are very important and need to be provided with additional and the necessary support to be able to do their work. But it's certainly not just in Soufriere that such issues exist. They would probably exist all along our coastline in terms of the need for better management of our marine space, as the case may be. Another approach, and I think this is exactly one of the intentions of this unleashing of the blue economy, is to look at some of the best practices that are being done in other parts of the world and seeing how they can be replicated here. And one of them is simply trying to take people away from overutilizing that very resource. So you've got a very high demand, and so instead of overutilizing the resource, how is it possible to maybe create new or alternative areas of attraction? And one that has been certainly touted significantly is that of Point Molinier over in Grenada. Grenada suffered tremendously as a result of Hurricane Ivan, destroying a large amount of its coral reefs, and so the whole concept of how do you protect them, but in the meantime still give people an opportunity to see something interesting under the water, that has been taken up by the efforts of a gentleman by the name of, I think, Mr. DeCaries Taylor, who came up with this whole concept of an underwater sculpture park. And it has become very famous in part because one of the very telling images out of that sculpture park is that of individuals who effectively a sculpture in remembering enslaved peoples who would have died during the transatlantic crossing. So individuals who would have been in shackles, and so a very interesting sort of memorial exists to them, and it has created quite a lot of awareness of that aspect of the history of transatlantic slavery through this monument. So it is in fact one of the best visited sites now on the island of Grenada, and so that type of concept is, I think, something that is likely to come out of even this initiative of unleashing the blue economy, the idea of creating these alternative dive sites. You would recall over the years there have been some attempts to create artificial reefs by sinking old ships and trying to encourage that. But this initiative as well also makes it very interesting, and to be able to take the pressure away from the natural coral and to allow it to rejuvenate and to grow, which of course it takes a very, very long time to do just that. So let's hope we can hear a lot more about this initiative and to see how, in fact, it can tie in. Of course, another major issue, which we really don't have time to get into, is that of water quality and the impact of our urban environment, our agriculture sector and industrial sectors on as a result of effluent going into our bays, going from along our villages. It's certainly a major issue. It's been flagged for a while. The matters of high levels of fecal coliform on some of our west coast bays has been flagged and is a matter of concern. And we can well understand, because pretty much nearly all those urban or village communities and settlements really don't benefit from having treated sewage. And so a lot of it is going in raw into those very same bays. And so it is certainly a matter that is difficult to solve, because it'll take significant investment. It takes digging up and laying down sewage pipes and creating those. And of course, in the case of Castries, we know how old those are. And of course, having the necessary treatment, which of course also comes with a maintenance cost as well, and then to ensure that it works properly. That is all very, very necessary if we are going to be speaking about enjoying paradise into the future. And that's our dish of the day. When we come back, we'll take in our weather report and then head to the phone lines.
This has been The Daily Dish.
One tiles for your home, I see. Bathroom, kitchen, pantry. Need tiles for your balcony. Come down to Tiles Plus, satisfaction guarantee. Tiles Plus, Tiles Plus, Tiles Plus. Big tiles with unbeatable cost. Customer service, A+. There's all kind of tiles. Come down to Tiles Plus. We also got gas and vanity. Box, you'll see. Come down, don't mind nobody. We got the best tiles on island. Trust me. We are located Land Street in Castries, Bosses Grozile, and Flag Street in Beaufort. Telephone number 453-7939.
Island style, yeah. We got the time to make you go. We got the time to make you say, yeah. We'll have to make the right choice. Island style, whoa. We got the time that will make you happy. Island style, oh yeah. We make your dream come alive. In island style,
we have tiles and king sets, mixes and grout. Everything you need to sort the house out. For the best price and the latest style, take a little drive down to Island Style Car.
We got the time to make you go. We got the time to make you say, quality, price, service, choice. It's all an Island Style.
Visit us at our showrooms in Belarus, Rodney Bay, on the John Compton Highway, Castries, and behind Ruby's Gas Station on the Library Viewfort Highway. So call us on 450-452 or 453-TILE. Island Style, Tile and Bath. When you think tile, think Island Style.
This is Radio Caribbean International. It's now time for the weather news.
And that's of course, the 1.1. It's now time for your weather report as of 12 noon today, presented by Island Style Tile and Bath. The forecast for St. Lucia Valley for the next 24 hours. The winds will be blowing from between the east, northeast and east near 18 miles per hour or 30 kilometers per hour. The weather fair to partly cloudy with a few showers, mainly during the early morning hours. The forecast for the Lesser Antilles, mostly cloudy with light moderate showers over the Leeward and Northern Windward Islands further south. Fair to partly cloudy with a few brief showers. And the weather summary, the Atlantic high pressure system will maintain moderate easterly winds across the eastern Caribbean region during the next few days. A weak shell line will cause cloudiness with scattered showers over the northern portion of the region during the next 24 hours. A relatively dry and stable atmosphere will prevail over the remainder of the region. And this was a weather report as of 12 noon today, presented by Island Style Talent Bar.
This has been RCI's Weather News. For more information, call the Weather Hotline at 454-3452. RCI 101 number 1.
Island style. We got the time to make you go. We got the time to make you say, we'll have to make the right choice. Island style. Whoa. We got the time that will make you happy. Island style. Oh yeah. We make your dream come alive. In Island style.
We have tiles and thin sets, mixes and ground. Everything you need to sort the house out. For the best price and the latest style, take a little drive down to Island Style Car.
We got the time to make you go. We got the time to make you say, quality rice, service choice. It's all an Island style.
Visit us at our showrooms in Belarus, Rodney Bay, on the John Crompton Highway, Cass Street, and behind Ruby's Gas Station on the Library Viewfort Highway. Or call us on 450-452 or 453-TILE. Island Style Tile and Bath. When you think tile, think Island Style.
And welcome back to the lunchroom here at Radio Caribbean International. And of course, if you want to call into the lunchroom to tell us what's on your plate today, the number to do so is 452-3046. Again, 452-3046. And you can also call in via WhatsApp number. That is 724-0008. Again, 724-0008. And we were just making some mention of that signing ceremony that was earlier on today. I believe it involved the Ministers of Tourism as well as Ministry of Sustainable Development and of course also the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries as some of the lead agencies in this regard. As we were speaking about that initiative being funded through the World Bank, that of unleashing the blue economy. Of course, quite often in many of these projects, they take quite a while to get going because they involve a lot of consultancies in the early points, in the early parts, getting the data. And sometimes perhaps some of the quick wins are not realized. And there are real issues, no doubt, in terms of even right now how we manage some of our spaces. A case in point is that of Rodney Bay. And we've seen calls time and time again for ensuring that there's safe demarcated areas for swimming and for segregated areas for water sports. And unfortunately, every now and then, we have somebody who gets injured or ends up losing their life because of a jet ski accident or something of the sort. So certainly, some real health and safety imperatives need to be addressed there. Let's take a call at this time. As we go to the phone lines, good afternoon and welcome to the lunchroom. What's on your plate today?
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi, caller. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. Can you tell me what good came out of slavery?
What good came out of slavery?
Because I heard...
I don't know that we can talk about...
Okay, moment, but I missed a snack. He is saying yesterday that at the end of the day, good things came out of slavery. But he cannot even explain what good things came out of slavery. And do you know, just recently, this guy lives in Sufre, but he lives in Atlanta. Just last week, he called and he said he has an ice cream shop in Sufre, plus a store. And he said some white people came in there to buy. And then he was looking for the change to give them. And they said, I knew this was going to happen.
So who said that I knew this?
The same white people he said that came to buy the ice cream from the hotel. It was the tongue line man. They came to buy from his ice cream. And this is a black man from Sufre. And because he has a shop, he is always putting down his people. They're dumb. They do this. They don't buy this. They do all sorts of things every day. And he has this stupid accent calling it my brother. My brother that's not finishing at all. And then after all of that, you call in and you say that right away, because you couldn't, find a change, because you said the money was sticking. And they say as if they knew this would happen, meaning that they knew a black man would thief them. But yet, day before yesterday, he's calling and said, the people are getting on and calling about slavery and all sorts of things. But a lot of good things came out of slavery.
So what are those good things that he was referring to?
He could not say what he referred to, what good things, but he could continue saying that is black people keep on killing other black people and black people thieving, they're not buying and all sorts of things. So, that's the kind of things he keep on saying about his own people, about these selfies. They only want giving the children, those that want to give the children expensive things. It's a whole lot. It's like it's a constant bringing down. And plus he has a store in Sufre, but he said like the black people don't come to buy from him. Just all, the Sufre people and all sorts of things. But he always then, I love my country, So sometimes I go ahead to tell him, you keep on complaining with that American false American accent, Maybe if you had come down to the people's thing, start talking a little patois, do a little thing, maybe more people can buy from you. Because you keep on insulting and you're abusing your own people as if nothing they do. He said, and they're trying to tell him that, look, Russia and Ukraine, war is going on. Are there any black people they fighting? No. Israel and Palestinians. They're trying to tell him that, but no. He insists. But yet he cannot point out what good things came out of slavery. I don't understand some people at all,
Well, we have a lot of self-hate, that's for sure, caller, and that's a major problem that I think is in fact in part as a result of slavery, that we are quite often made to believe that we are somehow inferior, and nothing good is coming out of ourselves, and that's very, very common, and then everybody else on the outside has the answers, and that they somehow are perfectly fine, and there's something wrong in that situation. So it's very interesting that you're raising this, because we have to be able to get beyond that kind of mindset if we're going to be able to really progress as a country. That's not going to be helpful, that we can be pulling down ourselves and hating on ourselves and believing that somehow trying to justify almost institutions like slavery and acts like that, and trying to make it seem as if it was a great thing, because there's nothing good about that whole process of enslaving people, the violence that was meted out. It was a horrific existence that I'm pretty certain if he went back and asked people who were living in that time, I don't think they would have that same view if you were to ask them whether they wanted their freedom or not. But then again, we do know about the quote-unquote house slave mentality as well.
There's so much to acknowledge. you cannot find one thing good to acknowledge. It's always the negative of your people. So many black people have done so well in this world. When you listen to some of the historic facts of what black people discover and all sorts of things, come on. It's true they may have some among us that will fight among themselves, they kill. But what other a race don't have those things? In all of the races they have, they're going to kill one another, they're going to do awesome. Which race do not have killing amongst one another? Which race do not have jealousy of one another and all the different things you keep on saying that we the black people do? I mean, and he does that almost like on a daily basis, as if that is his job to put down. And when you somebody call and put him in his place, you always have to come back and say, oh, it's not this and it's not that, but we have to admit. What do we have to admit? What do we have to admit? You are the one putting down your people. You say you have stores in Atlanta, as if it's only the black people that go in and rob and do all sorts of things. Come on, then you come down to your country now, but you want your things to sell. But all you can see is bad things about you. You can see who's dirty, how job is all over the place. You have nothing good to say of your people. So then why do you want them to patronize your store or your ice cream parlor? No.
Well, it sounds like he needs a new marketing strategy, that's for sure.
I tell him to start with a little patois, and maybe go down to the people's things, start going around talking, behaving like the people. Then maybe he might get some people to come and start buying in his store, because you cannot be like that. Come on.
Yeah,
to be fighting down your own people all the time. It's true there's crime, there's all sorts of things taking place. But at the end of the day, you can make a difference for your people if you say you have, and you can assist and help, you can give people jobs. Come on, try and do better than that, but don't put people down like that, not because you have changed something. You don't put down people like that. Up to on Tuesday, I'm hearing a guy calling, and he find we should not have a police commissioner.
Oh, why is that?
Because a female police commissioner is not effective.
A female police commissioner is not effective?
Yeah, as soon as you find.
So were all the others effective then?
None of the men could not solve the crime there. You have a female that you see.
That's a very strange.
They put a male back there. They need to put a male back there because the woman, and he's going on.
Well, that's a very, very strange point to make, because, I mean, we didn't have, we only just recently, it's not even 2 years that we've had a female commissioner, and I'm pretty certain that our crime rate has been pretty high for some time. So I don't see how that. I mean, that's a very bizarre statement.
They should have a man and not a woman. What it is the woman has done. So look, all the Bill Police Commissioner, which one has been able to solve our? Which one has been able to do any better than the other? None of them. None of them, because under each and every one of them, crime was on the increase. So how you can say that? At least with the woman, match had only 2. Come on.
Well, that's unfortunate. But caller, just as you're online and engage on, because I know you speak on many of these matters regarding the Blind Welfare Association.
Yeah.
I noticed for Senusha Jazz, in fact, we played a 60 minutes clip about his rise, that of James Whitaker, who is coming in. He's performing at Senusha Jazz. And he's blind, and he is an African American musical prodigy. I don't know if there's any attempt by the Blind Welfare Association, and maybe to do some sort of if possible, I don't know, but some kind of meet and greet or something of the sort with.
Because there was the last one. What's his name? Jose Feliciano. When he came the last time, there was some woman, one of the executive of Blind Welfare, that was going around with him. So I am not sure if Mr. Avila and them, the board is aware of that, but maybe I can. What date is he coming in?
Well, it's for Senusha Jazz coming up in May. So
yes, I know.
Yes. I don't know exactly what dates. I don't know the particulars, but I'm just saying that
I think I'll call Mr. Avila.
It might be a good idea to see how, especially for maybe some young blind individuals who are interested in music, and maybe some sort of sharing, it might be useful there. If there's time in his schedule, I think it would be a good touch, no doubt.
In fact, as soon as I finish, I'll call him and pass it on.
Okay.
That music, I think I think Mr. will take up of that opportunity.
Definitely. Thanks. Thanks for that initiative.
Right away.
Okay. All right then, caller.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one. And of course, the number to call in to tell us what's on your plate today, it is 452-3046. Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon.
Hi, caller. How are you doing?
Yes, I know St. Lucia is a country that's, economy tourism based, but I'm not sure if we've done any studies to determine what is the optimum carrying capacity for St. Lucia in terms of number of hotels or hotel rooms. Whether it will be 10,000 rooms, 15,000 rooms,
right,
before we actually begin to experience diminishing returns.
Right.
And also the issue, well,
yeah, I would say I don't even know that we even have a very clear idea as to how many rooms we have today, because even, the traditional room types, right, the hotels, and but then you also have the more resort residential villas, and now you also have, of course, the other class of the Airbnbs, your bed and breakfast, so there really has to be a good accounting to see what's out there. I think there have been plans in the past to say that, look, we want about 12,000 hotel rooms. Some of those go way back to the 1960s and 70s, and we're nowhere near that yet. So I think one of the major issues in terms of this whole concept of carrying capacity are what are the constraints. One of the big ones, no doubt, is the issue of water utilization. And the other one is the utilization of resources, like we were talking about, the marine spaces, the beaches. We're not even like Barbados, and the Cayman Islands and some of these islands that have beaches all around,
Right.
And this idea as well that all the hotels want to be near the coast.
Right,
is another
exactly.
major problem.
We have to establish setbacks for them, new hotels,
Setbacks, and also even the concept of like your Ladera type properties, or the Hotel Chocolat properties, the ones that are set for do, that are not necessarily set on the coastline, but can be very, very beautiful in the mountains, and set in more countryside settings as well. So certainly I think there is a need to look at that. I don't think that there has been a study, to be honest.
Right. Okay, related to the use of our resources, I noticed that in recent years, VG Beach should has become a bit of a hotspot in that, you now have jet skis in the area.
Oh, really? At Shock?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, you also have, of course, the tourists around. You have locals using the beach. You also have guys who rent horses and occasionally gallop, along the beach, So I'm a little concerned that if we don't monitor what's happening there, we might have another accident,
Oh, I was not aware that so much is happening at VG Beach. That's interesting. That's very, very interesting indeed. Thanks for pointing that one out.
Yeah.
But I think as well, even the having better use of the beach areas and the amenities to support some of these things, could be incorporated. One of the areas which is the beach facilities, quote unquote, still remains a bit of an eyesore. That space between the Rendezvous Hotel and the Shock Cemetery, which is owned by the Castries Constituencies Council. It really has just sort of become a dumping ground almost for fill. The restaurant that was there, I think the owner has since passed. But that's a really lovely area that, in all honesty, there should be some, potential improvement for people who are looking to enjoy the beach, and I think it's very much necessary. So,
okay.
All right. Thanks very much for that, caller.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye.
Definitely have a good one. And that's one of the challenges that you face. You have the sand, these beach areas, and you've got a lot of issues in terms of erosion. Coastal erosion is a major one there, and of course we haven't helped with the situation because we have in many instances built almost right up to the shoreline or the beach itself, and introducing these hard surfaces, and that in fact sometimes increases the rate of erosion. And then what we do to try to protect it is to build more and more walls, and it's a very difficult situation to solve. But it would, and of course these marine works they're costly, and they do require even maintenance. In fact, I noticed just today somebody posted an image, I think from the 1970s, showing the VG Beach Hotel, which is that area on the western side of VG Beach after the George Charles Terminal, just sort of opposite the air cargo area. That area there was the VG Beach Hotel, and it was one of the early hotels in St. Lucia. And interestingly, the image actually shows where there was a sort of a breakwater, which was probably constructed by the hotel at that time to assist in terms of calming the water at that point along the bay. And you look at it today, and it's pretty clear that that probably has eroded away. You're not even seeing it again. So these structures, these breakwaters, they do erode because it's a constant action, wave action, and of course when you have major hurricanes and stuff, that can certainly get severely impacted. So understanding those dynamics are very important, and certainly seeing how we can protect and manage our shoreline is a major one. One of the things that we are seeing as well is that of the importance of mangroves and sand dunes as buffer areas. And so all of that too is a great appreciation that is now had. Perhaps it wasn't there 40, 50 years ago, but it's far better understood today that these areas, in fact, do require conservation and protection. And so it's certainly not necessary to have these hotel structures right up against the beach, as it was done perhaps in the past. They should be set back. And so the beach itself should feel as natural as perhaps it could be, but you get that in some parts of Martinique, for instance. You see, there are not that many hotels in Martinique in comparison to here, even, and even when they do have them, they tend to be set back a bit more. So definitely, we do need to look at how those spaces are designed, so that we can actually ensure that it's aesthetically pleasing, and at the same time is also sustainable for the longevity of whatever we would like to actually enjoy. So the issue of carrying capacity, as I mentioned, is a major one. I mean, we've heard in the past, people have said, well, look at Aruba. And Aruba, a small island like Aruba with, not even 100,000 people, or just about that. And they have about 12,000, 13,000 hotel rooms. And maybe we should be, looking at that as a potential model for us. But of course, different terrain, different topography. And certainly if that has to be done, you've got to be able to ensure that you have the supporting infrastructure to be able to do just that. Countries like Aruba have these regions where they've put in significant road and other utilities, and they can in fact support those types of resort areas. Unfortunately, we haven't managed that very well, and we haven't really kept up with the kind of investments that are required to be able to support those very same things. There was a time back in the 1970s, 1960s, 1970s, when after the transfer of the U.S. Air Base to the government of St. Lucia, this whole plan to develop Vieux Fort as a second city. And that, in fact, at that time had envisaged in the region of, I think, about 5,000 hotel rooms. And we can well say that that is nowhere near being achieved. The only one, in fact, I was already under construction, I believe, at that time, was the Coconut Bay, or the Halcyon Days, as it was then known, property, which was then Club Med and now Coconut Bay. That was the only significantly large property that ever got built in the Vieux Fort area. Now, however, we are seeing the investment coming on of Galaxy in the Honeymoon Beach area in Canals. So that's to the, actually geographically in the quarter of Micoud, but in that general vicinity, it falls, I think, in the Vieux Fort North, and it's supposed to be, I think, in the first instance, 250 rooms, as well as later on under another brand, a Zotri property that's also going to be constructed there. So a significant, probably since the investment of Coconut Bay, that would certainly be, if once it actually gets open, would be the largest hotel resort investment in the south of the island for decades, really. I mean, we've been seeing the promise of so many projects in the south of the island, and you can go through the long list of that. Even at that very same location at Honeymoon Beach, there was a proposal for a hotel there many moons ago, and then of course there was a promise of development at the Trumasse area. Then later on, I think there was a Heinz development that was proposed there. Then we saw proposals for developments at Black Bay that never got around. And then, of course, there was Black Bay 2.0, another attempt at it, which, of course, then led to a whole issue with CIP funds having to be repaid because of whatever agreements had not been kept to during that time. And, of course, we were then promised the DSH, and you recall DSH was supposed to deliver, thousands? I don't know, thousands of hotel rooms. And we were even told about a hotel that was supposed to be built next to the racetrack, which was supposed to have been managed by as a hotel hospitality school in collaboration with some university out of Switzerland. Of course, that seems not to have ever happened. So a lot of promises there with respect to hotel developments in the south of the island, which have never materialized. This one seems to be getting pretty far. And of course, let's not forget Le Paradis, further north along the east coast at one point. But that also, as a result of the economic financial crisis, came to a halt with the whole Clicquot debacle as well. But that's all the time for today here at the Lunchroom on Radio Caribbean International. We do hope that you can join us again for another program tomorrow. And of course, in the meantime, do have yourself a wonderful day. I'm your host, Alex George Jr., saying goodbye.